This is a short instructional video on the CE Electronics Pop Clamp tool. This video will cover the third generation tool that includes many improvements, including wireless charging of the internal batteries, a more durable sensor, and a steel backing plate on the bottom of the tool. I'll begin with initial setup. Then I'll cover proper technique when using the tool and follow up with some troubleshooting and additional information. The tool draws a very small amount of power even when it's in a deep sleep. The tool should be charged completely before it's put into use. If the tool is not going to be used for more than a month, the battery should either be disconnected or the tool will need to be charged once a month. Failure to do this will damage the battery pack. The tool will be shipped with the battery disconnected. When connecting the battery, be sure it latches completely and securely. There's a little click that the connector will make as you push it in place. The new system uses lithium iron phosphate rechargeable batteries. This battery chemistry likes to be topped off. So if you want to minimize your battery hassles, recharge the tool on at least a weekly basis while it's in production. It won't hurt the tool if it goes in the charger whenever it's not in use, during breaks, overnight, etc. The charging station has a red and green LED. If there is power to the charger, the red LED will be on. If the tool is charging, the green LED will be on. The green LED may stay on or even flicker if the tool is fully charged because it's keeping the battery topped off. Once the receiver is installed at the station, you'll need to mate the tool to the receiver. To do this, turn the key from lock to program, from awake state, so touch the end effector, the little light comes on. Push and hold the button till the light flashes red and green, and then once more. The receiver will beep 4 times, indicating a successful pairing. Turn the key back to lock and you're ready to go. Each receiver can know up to 6 tools, A through F. They are first in, first out. So the most recent tool learned becomes A. If a second tool is learned to the receiver, then the first tool becomes B. Each tool learned into the receiver will inherit the settings of tool A. So it's only necessary to set up the tool one time. Each backup or replacement tool will acquire the settings from the previous tool. You can clear all the learned tools from the receiver by turning the key from lock to program and back 3 times. This will be indicated by 4 beeps. Clearing the tools will not clear the settings. If you wish to reset the receiver to the default settings, turn the key to program and back 2 more times immediately after you hear the 4 beeps from clearing all the tools. That clears the tools, and then 2 more times. That sets everything back to factory defaults. Now let's look at operation. The receiver has a green LED that indicates an accept detected by the system. The power indicator will be solid blue when there is power to the receiver. There is a low battery indicator that will flash when the tool's battery is critically low. The signal LED is a tricolor LED. It briefly indicates the radio signal strength after each cycle. Green for a good signal, yellow for an okay signal, red for a weak signal. When the software is attached to the receiver and adjustments are being made to the system, this LED will remain a solid red, indicating there are new settings in the receiver waiting to be sent out to the tool. It can also be red when the receiver is waiting for updated information from the tool that the software has requested. There is also a beeper on the receiver that has 3 different settings: high, low, or off. Now we're going to talk about technique. The tool works with a prying or twisting action. Pushing of the clamp will result in poor results. A firm grip is important so the sensor can read the force of the clamp. A loose grip will dampen the signal. A deliberate and methodical activation with a complete follow-through will yield consistent results. Also, nothing should be touching the end effector while you're activating the clamp. Fingers and hoses and firewalls will rob the tool of clamp signal. In the case that the clamp was released and verified by the operator but not accepted by the tool, the button on the tool can be used for a manual accept. By default, Relay 1 signals that the sensor has indicated an accept, and Relay 2 indicates a manual buy-off using the button. These can be reconfigured using the software. Some further suggestions about getting good results. Avoid combining dissimilar clamp sizes at one station. Having both small and large clamps being released at a station may require compromising release force settings. As much as possible, avoid multiple clamps at one station. The more times the operator must change positions, directions, and/or orientations, the more likely you'll get false negatives. Clamps that are hard to reach or encumbered by wires or hoses will be more prone to false negatives. Take note that results will improve as the operator gets accustomed to the operation. Now we're going to talk about a little troubleshooting. The tool has a small LED on it. When there's no force on the end effector, this LED should be off. A little force will wake the tool up, and the LED will show green. If the LED is always flickering green without any force applied, then the tool is not sleeping properly. It could indicate that a sleep-wake threshold is set too low, or the sensor has been damaged, or strong radio interference. If this LED is solid red, it could mean that the sensor is damaged or the zero has been shifted. This could happen if something is pressing on the end effector during boot up. First, try holding down the button for more than 5 seconds until the tool reboots. If this does not resolve the issue, try disconnecting the battery and then reconnecting the battery. If the issue remains, contact your distributor or CE Electronics for repair. Another useful troubleshooting indicator is the LED signal on the receiver. After each clamp, the LED indicates green, red, or yellow depending on radio signal strength. If that LED flashes 3 times red after an accept has been generated, it indicates that the amplifier has been saturated and we're missing some of the signal. In order to correct this, you will need to increase your force setting. You're essentially adjusting the amplifier when you do that. We offer many shapes and lengths of end effectors. We recommend an engineering kit be purchased with every 1 to 10 systems. This kit has all of the common end effectors screws, and wrenches used to service these tools in the field. The engineering kit also includes additional clamps for the end effector. One of these should be put on the tool on very large clamps if the end effector starts to come loose. Now let's go over the settings in the receiver using the device programmer software. This software can be obtained on the CE Electronics website shown here. From the home screen, go to the Industrial Division, and then Downloads, and then scroll down until you see Pop Clamp. So download this software to your laptop, and you'll have the software necessary to configure the receiver. From the home screen of the software, you'll need to come down here. Always start with a read. Read from the box. This uploads all the settings from the box up to the software. If you write first, you'll write a bunch of zeros to the receiver and you'll have wiped everything out. So read first is always important. So this shows the tools across the top. Tool A, Tool B, Tool C, Tool D, and F, all the way up to F. The first item is the tool identifier. This is essentially the serial number of the radio inside the tool. Code type and code revision are things that we might ask you if you call in asking for help. Though there's nothing there that you can change. Clamp detection This setting controls how closely the clamp signature must match the ideal clamp signature in order to be accepted as good. The higher this number is set, the narrower the tolerance from a known good clamp signature will generate an accept. Higher number will give you fewer false positives. Lower number will give you a higher accept rate, but may allow more false positives. Next is clamp release force. Clamp release force. This will adjust the tool's sensitivity. It's similar to the volume knob. There are many factors affecting the release force, but generally speaking, large clamps require a higher release force and small clamps require less release force. Many plants run with both these settings at 5, and they're perfectly happy with the results. The last button here is the hold time. How long an operator must hold the manual accept button before a transmission of a manual buy-off is sent. Typically this is set at half a second. So if we make any changes to these settings, say we're going to change clamp release force to 6 and send it out to the tool, out here it says write settings. Comes up and asks you, are you sure you want to do this? Of course, tell it yes. Once it's sent out to the box, the LED signal will turn red, indicating there's new data that needs to go from the receiver to the tool. That will be sent on the next successful accept cycle. Light turns green, telling you the new parameters are now out in the tool. The last tab is the radio receiver settings. The very first one is what radio channel we're using. Typically 1 is just fine, but there are 8 channels available if there's too much noise on one. Relay mode, momentary or latching, how long the relays are on, how long the relays are off when you're using a momentary signal. Turn the beeper off or on the receiver. Here's where we assign the relays. It can be tool, button, tool and button. This is where you configure your 2 different relays. Here's your active tool ID. So if you go back, this tells you what tool communicated with the receiver last. Here's the number of cycles on the tool, good information. And all this other stuff is essentially engineering information. Again, information we might ask you for if you call in with some sort of a technical support issue.